Messenger by Lois Lowry, Chapter 11. Tuck it inside your shirt, Maddie, so it won't get rumpled. You have a long journey ahead. Maddie took the packet of folded messages in the thick envelope and placed it where Leader indicated, inside his shirt next to his chest. He didn't say so to Leader, but he thought that later, when he gathered his traveling things, he would probably find a different place for the envelope. He would put it with his food supplies and blanket. It was true that here, inside his shirt, was the safest and cleanest place, but he had planned to carry Frolic there against his chest. There was not time in 3 weeks to make journeys to all the other places and communities. Some of them were many days away, and a few places could be reached only by riverboat. Maddie was not qualified to go by river. The man, called Boater, was always the one who took messages and trading goods by that route. But it had been decided that the message would be posted on every path throughout Forest, so that any new ones coming would see it and turn back. Maddie was the only one who knew all the paths, who was not afraid to enter Forest and travel in that dangerous place. He would post the messages there, and he would go on to his own old place as well. There had been ongoing communication between that place and village for years. Now they must be told of the new ruling. Leader was standing now at the window, as he so often did, looking down at village and the people below. Maddie waited. He was in a hurry to be off, to begin his long journey, but he had a feeling that there was something that Leader wanted to tell him, something still unsaid. Finally, Leader turned to Maddie, standing beside him. "He's told you that I see beyond, hasn't he?" "Yes, he says you have a special gift. His daughter does, too." "His daughter. That would be the girl called Kira. The one who helped you leave your old place. He never talks about her. It makes him too sad, but he thinks about her all the time." "And you say she has a gift too?" "Yes, but hers is different." "Each gift is different," Leader said. "Do you know about mine?" Maddie thought, but he did not need to ask. As if he had read Maddie's mind, Leader told him. "I know of yours." Maddie shuddered. The gift still frightened him so. "I kept it secret," he said apologetically. "I haven't even told Seer. I didn't want to be secretive, but I'm still trying to understand it. I try to put it out of my mind. I try to forget that it's there inside me, but then it just appears. I can feel it coming. I don't know how to stop it." "Don't try. If it comes without your summoning it, it is because of need, because someone needs your gift." "A frog? It was a frog first." "It was to show you. It always starts with a small thing. For me, the very first time I saw beyond, it was an apple." Despite the solemnity of the conversation, Maddie chuckled. A frog and an apple. And a puppy, he realized. "Wait for the true need, Maddie. Don't spend the gift." "But how will I know?" Leader smiled. He rubbed Maddie's shoulder affectionately. "You'll know," he said. Maddie looked around for Frolic and saw that he was curled in the corner asleep. "I should go. I haven't packed my things yet. And I want to stop by and tell Jean I'm going, so she won't wonder where I am." Leader kept him there within the comfortable curve of his arm. "Maddie, wait," he said. "I want to—" Then he gazed through the window again. Maddie stood there, wondering what he was to wait for. Then he felt something. The weight of the young man's arm took on a quality of something beyond human flesh. It came alive with power. Maddie felt it from the arm, but he knew, as well, that it was pervading all of Leader's being. He understood that it was Leader's gift at work. Finally, after what seemed an unendurable few moments, Leader lifted his arm away from Maddie. He exhaled. His body sagged slightly. Maddie helped him to a chair, and he sat there, exhausted, breathing hard. "Forest is thickening," Leader said when he could speak. Maddie didn't know what he meant. It sounded ominous. But when he looked through the window to the row of underbrush and pines that was the border of forest, it looked no different to him. "I don't understand it exactly," Leader said, "but I can see a thickening to forest, like a—" he hesitated. "I was going to say like a clotting of blood. Things turning sluggish and sick." Maddie looked through the window again. "The trees are just the same, Leader. There's a storm coming, though. You can hear the wind. And look, the sky's turning dark. Maybe that's what you saw." Leader shook his head skeptically. "No, it was forest I saw, I'm sure. It's hard to describe, Maddie, but I was trying to look through forest in order to get a feeling for Seer's daughter. And it was very, very hard to push through. It was, well, thick." "I think you had better not go, Maddie. I'm sorry. I know you love making your journeys, and that you take pride in being the only one who can, but I think there may be danger in forest this time." Maddie's heart sank. He had hoped to be given his true name, Messenger, because of this trip. At the same time, something told him that Leader might be right. Then he remembered. Leader, I have to. No, we can post the messages at the entrance to village. It will mean new ones will have to turn back after terribly long journeys, and that's tragic, but... No, it's not the messages. It's Seer's daughter. I promised him I would go and bring Kira home. It will be her last chance to come. His last chance to be with her. And she will want to come? I'm sure she will. She always intended to someday, and she has no family there. She's old enough to marry, but no one would want her. Her leg is crooked. She walks with a stick. Leader took several deep breaths. Maddie, he said, I'm going to try again to see beyond Forest. I'm going to try to see Seer's daughter and her needs. You may stay with me now, because whether you make this journey will depend on what I learn. But be aware that it is very hard for me to do this twice in a row. Don't be distressed as you watch. He stood again and went to the window. Maddie, knowing he could be of no help, went to the corner where Frolic was asleep and sat down beside his puppy. From there he watched Leader's body tense as if he were in pain. He heard Leader gasp and then moan slightly. The young man's blue eyes remained open, but no longer seemed to be looking at the ordinary things in the room or through the window. He had gone, eyes and whole being, far into a place that Maddie could not perceive, and where no one could follow him. He seemed to shimmer. Finally he slumped into the chair, shaking, and tried to catch his breath. Maddie went to him, stood beside him, and waited while Leader rested. He remembered how he felt after he had healed the puppy and its mother. He remembered that desperate need to sleep. I reached where she is, Leader said when he could speak again. Did she know you were there? Could she feel you there? Leader shook his head. No, to make her aware of me would have taken more energy than I had. It's so very far, and Forest is so thick now, to go through. Maddie had a sudden thought. Leader, do you think two gifts could meet? Leader, still breathing hard, stared at him. What do you mean? I'm not sure, but what if you could go halfway, and she could too? So you could meet in the middle with your gifts. It wouldn't be so hard if you only went halfway, if you met. Leader's eyes were closed now. I don't know, Maddie, he said. Maddie waited, but Leader said nothing more, and after a while Maddie feared he was asleep. Frolic, he called, and the puppy woke, stirred, and came to him. Leader, Maddie said, leaning close to him, I'm going to go. I'm going to get the blind man's daughter. Be very careful, Leader murmured. His eyes were closed. It is dangerous now. I will. I always am. Don't waste your gift. Don't spend it. I won't, Maddie replied, though he was not certain what the words meant. Maddie? Yes? He was at the top of the stairs now, holding Frolic, who still couldn't manage the staircase on his own. She's quite lovely, isn't she? Maddie shrugged. He understood that Leader was referring to Kira, but the blind man's daughter was older than he. She had been like a big sister to him. No one in the old place had thought her lovely. They had been contemptuous of her weakness. She has a crooked leg, Maddie reminded Leader. She leans on a stick to walk. Yes, Leader said. She's very lovely. But his voice was hard to hear now, and in a second he was asleep. Maddie, holding Frolic, hurried down the stairs. It was late in the day by the time Maddie was ready to go. It had rained heavily, and though the rain had stopped, wind still blew, and the leaves of the trees fluttered and revealed their pale undersides. The sky was dark from the storm and from the approach of evening. He placed the packet of messages inside his rolled blanket. By the sink, the blind man was putting food into Maddie's backpack. He could not carry enough for the entire journey. It was too long. But Maddie was accustomed to living on food that Forest provided. He would feed himself along the way when what Seer packed was gone. While you're away, I'll be fixing the spare room for her. Tell her that, Maddie. She'll have a comfortable place to live, and she can have a garden. I know that's important to her. She's never been without a garden. I won't need to convince her. She's always said she'd come when the time was right. Now it is. Leader could tell, so she'll know too. You said she has a gift. Maddie, folding a sweater, tried to reassure the blind man. It's hard to leave the only place you've known. You did it, Maddie reminded him. I had no choice. I was brought here when they found me in Forest with my eyes gone. Well, I did it. Many have. Yes, that's true, but I hope it won't be hard for her. Maddie glanced over. Don't put those beets in. I hate beets. They're good for you. Not if they're thrown on the ground, and that's what they'll be if you put them in. The blind man chuckled and dropped the beets into the sink. Well, he said, they're heavy anyway. They weigh you down. But I'm putting carrots in. Anything but beets. There was a knock on the door, and it was Jean, her hair curlier than usual from the dampness that remained after the rain. "Are you still going, Maddie? In this weather?" Maddie laughed at her concern. "I've gone through forest and snow," he boasted. "This weather is nothing." "Yes, I'm about to leave. I'm just packing food." "I've brought you some bread," she said, and took the wrapped loaf from the basket she carried. He noticed that she had decorated it with a leafy sprig and a yellow chrysanthemum blossom. Maddie took the loaf and thanked her, though secretly he wondered how he would ever fit it in. Finally, the blind man found a way to tuck it inside the rolled blanket. "I want to stop on my way out of village to see Ramon," Maddie said. "I'd better hurry, or I'll never get started." "Oh, Maddie," Jean said. "You don't know? Ramon's very sick. His sister, too. They've put a sign on the door to their house. No one can enter." Troubling though the news was, Maddie was not surprised. Ramon had been coughing, feverish-looking, and increasingly unwell for days now. "What does Herbalist say?" "That's why they put the sign up. Herbalist is afraid it may be contagious, that an epidemic could come." What was happening to village? Maddie felt a terrible unease. There had never been an epidemic here. He remembered the place he had come from, where many had died from time to time, and all of their belongings had been burned after, in hopes of destroying the illness carried by filth or fleas, or some thought sorcery. But it had never happened here. People had always been so careful here to clean. He could see that the blind man's face had taken on a worried look, too, at the news. For a moment, Maddie stood there thinking, while Seer arranged his pack on his back and attached the rolled blanket below it. He thought of the frog first, then the puppy. He wondered if his gift could save his friend. He could go to Ramon's house now and place his hands upon the feverish body. He knew it would be indescribably hard, would take all of his strength, but he thought there might be a chance. But what then? If he himself survived such an attempt, he would be desperately weakened, he knew, and would have to recover. He could not possibly make the journey through forest if he first weakened himself on Ramon's behalf. Forest was already thickening, he knew, whatever that meant. It would soon become impassable. The blind man's daughter would be lost to them forever. And most important, Leader had told him to save his gift. "Don't spend it," Leader had said. So Maddie decided with regret that he would have to leave Ramon to his illness. "Look," Jean said suddenly. "Look at this. It's different." Maddie glanced over and saw that she was standing in front of the tapestry Kira had made for her father. Even from where he stood, he could see what Jean meant. The entire forest area, the hundreds of tiny stitches in shades of green, had darkened, and the threads had knotted and twisted in odd ways. The peaceful scene had changed to something no longer beautiful. It had an ominous feel to it, a feel of impenetrability. He went near to it and stared at it, puzzled and alarmed. "What is it, Maddie?" Jean asked. "Nothing. It's all right." He indicated with his eyes that she should not speak aloud of the odd change in the tapestry. Maddie did not want Seer to know. It was time to go. He wriggled his shoulders to adjust the pack comfortably on his back, and leaned forward to hug the blind man, who murmured to him, "Be safe." To his surprise, Jean kissed him. So often in the past, teasing, she had said she would, one day. Now she did, and it was a quick and fragrant touch to his lips that gave him courage, and even before he started out, made him yearn to come back home.